All right, ladies, break out your notepad. I have done all of the research, and I'm going to tell you the 3 things that all men want in relationships. Before we even get started, if you're new to my channel, my name is Stephanie. I'm a life and relationship coach. Each week I post videos ranging from a ton of different topics, whether it's narcissism, codependency, mental health, how to love yourself, how to manifest. All of this is really about not just a relationship and like getting over that relationship and learning about different types of personality disorders, but this is more so about yourself and healing so many things that are going on inside of you that even cause you to be attracted to certain people. The goal here is to really just learn how to take care of yourself mentally and emotionally. That's what all of this is actually about. And when you do that, you end up having great relationships, healthy relationships. You end up manifesting, starting that company, feeling confident, at the end of the day, just enjoying life. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the number one thing that should be on both men and women's list of things that they're really looking for in a partner or how they want to be treated and loved in a relationship. And that is going to be respect. All men value deeply respect, and all men want to be respected. They all want to be valued for what they bring to the table. When you're dating a guy and you're getting to know him, one of the first things that should really be on your radar is not whether or not you're super attracted to him, because you either are or you're not. You like what you like, and that's totally fine. But the biggest thing that you're trying to kind of uncover is you're trying to dissect his character, his personality, his lifestyle, what he values, and do you actually respect all of those things? So this isn't a cheat sheet on, hey, make sure you do these things because you'll get this man to fall in love with you. You actually want to be really looking at this person and deciding whether or not you actually respect them. Because if you do respect them, and you're healed, let me just preface this by saying that, then you're going to have a great relationship. If you do not respect him and you're unhealed, this video is not about that, but we'll make one soon enough, then you are going to treat him very, very poorly. If you don't respect his lifestyle, his financial status, his ambition, what he does for a living, how he carries himself, how he treats you, how he treats others, and then all of that is going to manifest at some point in your relationship. Now, here's the hard part, and this is where the whole unhealed thing kind of comes into play. If you are unhealed, you are not going to see any of that, and you're going to try to change everything about him, which is what a lot of women do. So instead of trying to change people, which is never successful, what we want to be able to do is just actually look at a person and decide whether or not we respect them, whether or not we share the same values, whether or not we want the same things, and then we make a decision to actually be in a relationship with someone. If you're wounded, you're not going to be able to make that decision because you're going to be so incredibly grateful that you're at least in a relationship, even if it's not one that you're actually happy in. Respect is never, ever, ever going to be about teaching him how to be a man. It's not going to be about changing him whatsoever. It's going to be about you honoring who he is because you actually value his character. Now, this doesn't mean that he's perfect and he does everything right and you can never tell him what you think and how you feel or how you do want to be treated in certain areas or times during your relationship. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the consistent pattern that he gives you or shows you in your relationship. Do you respect that? If you're healthy, you will ask yourself that question and you will be okay with whatever the answer is. So if the answer is no, then you are okay with leaving this person or this relationship. And to be honest, you won't even get that far in the relationship. When you really ask yourself this question, it should be very, very early on in your dating experience with this person. And by then, that's the best time to be asking that question because you don't want to be asking it 3 years into a relationship where you're already emotionally invested in the relationship. And it's going to be even harder to leave this relationship because now you're going to convince yourself of all the amazing things that this person has and all the great qualities that they have, but they're missing one major thing, which is you just don't actually respect them. And that's okay. We don't have to respect every single person that we come in contact with. You want to be able to encourage him, but let him lead. And you want him to be able to lead in the areas where he is strong and you are weak. And I don't just mean physically, and vice versa. You want to be with a person that respects you enough to let you lead and be your cheerleader and be in the back seat and be your support system while you go do something. The person that always has your back, basically. It is also about respecting and valuing his efforts no matter what they are. Now, here's the thing. If you're getting the bare minimum and what you want is here and all they can give you is this, then that's a problem. You actually don't you're not swimming in the same pool, basically. The one thing that you want to try to practice is avoiding criticizing, complaining, and just having control over every single situation. If you're wounded, you're going to do those things. If you're a woman that's not wounded, then you will feel secure in letting him lead as long as you feel safe with him. And the only way you can feel safe with him is whether or not you actually respect him. He very well may not be able to do majority of what it is that you're asking for. And that's okay. But that doesn't mean that you accept less and you stay in a relationship way longer than you should. This is about you. This is about healing the stuff that's inside of you, because all the stuff that's inside of you is causing you to stay stuck in this relationship. Or all the things that are inside of you are what causing you to go out on dates and date people and not really examine whether or not you actually are right for this person or if they're right for you. You're just so happy to be in a relationship point blank that you can't really see the relationship or see the person for who they are. Number 2 is going to be acceptance. Acceptance. Now here's the thing. I want you to hear me out here, because I feel like the minute I say that, everyone's going to go, great, now I have to accept him for who he is and like he absolutely sucks. No, that's not what I'm referring to. There's 2 parts to acceptance. The first part is accepting him for what he does bring to the table. And like, yes, you always want your partner to be growing and learning and maybe giving more, but that has a lot to do with communication. And it also has a lot to do with how safe he feels in that relationship to even want to grow. Because if he doesn't feel good about himself because you're always criticizing and controlling him and trying to fit him into a box that he just can't be in right now, then he doesn't want to do better for himself. So we're always trying to encourage each other and love each other so we can actually grow in these relationships together. Now, again, he could be wounded himself, so this isn't solely your responsibility to constantly boost him up, but it does play a huge part, because let's be honest, do we really want to be in a relationship with someone that we don't feel good around? The other part of acceptance is accepting help. And this is something that if you are a wounded woman, you don't do often enough, or you just don't do it at all. A big way to have a man actually feel valued in the relationship, like he's bringing something to the table, is when he can help you with anything whatsoever. If you've been independent for a really long time, if you've been let down in the past, if you have all of these wounds from previous relationships and experiences, it's normal on some levels that you are hyper independent right now. You are super controlling, you complain, you criticize, all of those things. Those are all defense mechanisms because you have gone through some level of trauma. If you don't heal that stuff, and if you don't understand what you're doing and why you're doing it and how it's affecting not just your relationship, but affecting your life. At the end of the day, we all want someone to love us and take care of us in ways when we feel like we can't do it for ourselves. So it's not that you need a man because you're so incredibly codependent. It's that you deserve someone to actually love you and see you and be that cheerleader and help when you can't handle it all on your own, because none of us should be doing this thing called life completely by ourselves. Learning how to ask for help or leaning on someone, for me, was like one of the biggies that I had to do in my relationship, because I was not used to, number one, asking for help, and then number two, being comfortable leaning on someone, because I felt like every time I leaned, someone would let me down, or someone would disappear, or someone would leave. So it's like, yes, you have these walls up from previous experiences, but you have to be aware of what those walls are, and you have to want to not be that person. I didn't want to be that person anymore. I didn't want to be so afraid to let a man, no matter how many men in my past have let me down, I didn't want to be that woman going forward that was so afraid to have a man actually be there and love me and take care of me. And I also didn't want to live the rest of my life and be super hyper independent that I could just do it all, because then I would become resentful, and that's not a relationship. That's just a wounded person with another wounded person. I feel like over the years I've heard so many men complain about how they just don't even know how to take care of a woman anymore, and that they oftentimes don't even feel appreciated for what it is that they actually do or bring to the table. I've said this throughout this whole video. This is not something that's black and white. If you're getting the bare minimum and that's not okay for you, this is not about accepting that. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you're honest with yourself and you know, yes, I have a tendency to do this. Yes, I have a tendency to do that, and I don't want to be that woman. That's what this is about. These are the core things that, yes, we all want honesty and good communication and loyalty and like all of those things. But if you have absolutely no respect for this person, you are going to treat them like crap. If you are wounded, you are not going to accept help, and you're not going to accept anything that they possibly even bring to the table whatsoever, because all you're going to do is criticize, complain, and try to control. The last thing that I think is the most important, it's not the most important, but it's definitely at the top of the list, is affection, playfulness, just that femininity that we as women bring to the table, that level of softness. Each of these things has gone in order where it's like respect, accept, and affection. You cannot be this like playful, soft, affectionate person if you're wounded. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with a wounded man or if you're dealing with a man that's very, very much always in his masculine and can never kind of dip in his feminine. All men want affection. And I'm not just talking about sex, although I'm sure they would probably want that every minute of every day. I'm talking about the touching, the hugging, the playfulness, the laughing, the ease that you bring to the relationship, because he really does want you to just be happy. And I'm talking about the right man. I'm not talking about every single man, but the right man for you, the good man, the good guy, the healthy guy. He just wants you to be happy instead of him always fixing and fixing. Yes, men will make a video on how you can actually help women when they're venting or complaining and trying not to either be the fixer or the avoidant person, because you guys tend to fall in one of those two categories. But this is more about helping him to kind of like ease the load of the stress of his day, of his life, the weight that he carries on him all the time. You carry weight too. This isn't about just about him, but life is so difficult and hard at times. You don't want to make it any harder. You want to be in a relationship with someone that can help you to like unpack and unload all of the things that you're carrying around with you every single day, that can give you softness, that can give you affection, that can be silly, that can just take your mind off of how serious life can actually be, so you can enjoy life instead of thinking it's the most stressful thing in the world. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Watch it again, take notes, because I'm telling you, men, correct me if I'm wrong, down in that comment section, are these like the key things that you want in a relationship? And if I did miss any, ladies, get your notepad out and go in that comment section and let's take some notes. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, share this with someone who you think could benefit from this information, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.